Oh, look, guys, I like children's cartoon all of a sudden. But, well, because of the movie, obviously. And then because of the girl itself. And then there's a crossover, actually, between Dora, the actress, and Jewel. Not only they look alike, which is already a big hint in a personality world that they are linked together somehow. But then you have Dora's introduction to her career in general, as she was 12 too. Yeah. And guess what song is known and attached to her name? Okay, some people don't even know who Jewel is. Look at that innocent face, bro. Didn't do anything wrong while 13 years old. I'm not sure what exactly happens. I'm still trying to understand. I mean, everyone is trying to understand who's their fan. But now she's just like a little bit of edgelord, I would say. Now, maybe you can put this side by side. Maybe. I hate doing that, but I have the power to do so. They definitely look alike. And as I explain, there's like 8 personalities. Lookalikes immediately match with personalities as well. There's no way out of it, to be honest. No way. If they show the same expression on their face, if their face, gets stuck with that expression, it's a match. But it gets worse with these ones. All right, there's an actual like crossover. But to see the introduction, a second. I'm scrolling down to find this photo where she's like, "Well, I just woke up and I realized I look like Dora the Explorer." Do you now? Right after the movie came out as well. But she shows the cartoon character instead. The transformation is to become gay officially or whatever. Here it is. And yes, she... notably, Rebecca just... Also, Rebecca, it seems like a fucking familiar name from the movie somehow. I don't know, bro. But, notably, Rebecca has deleted most of her Instagram, and the only thing that's left is, like, transformations. Or her coloring her hair and being scary and stuff. Being edgy. It's like, that's her new identity now. I have a feeling there's going to be more transformations to come. Because she only now, like, pleases her fans. People who are fearless, who, like all kinds of artists, right? And she stopped appealing to, like, major audience or mainstream audience. Right after COVID, transformation started, but, like, whatever. I'm not gonna judge. I will gonna judge, actually. Because she's 1 out of 4 most powerful influencers that I ever, come across. Personally, I've decided. And it forever will be that way, I think. The only runner-up is Victoria. So, you saw that crossover from Jewel to Dora. There's also Dora to Jewel crossover. Something that Jewel did first, and then Dora repeated to some extent. And it comes in a form of Nickelodeon, my friends. Every single time you watch this, and you get the introduction. Very interesting one. I can hardly give you a clip. But, 7 a.m. waking up in the morning. How about 6 a.m. waking up in the morning? Because this is more strict schedule. Also, you're not gonna fucking sing about Friday. You're gonna sing about Monday and how you love Mondays, guys.
6 o'clock, it's Monday morning.
Yep. So it's a little bit different, but the vibe is literally the same. This is absolute crossover of 2 people And I'm like, shit, Isabella's gonna get carried, my friends. Gonna carried very far. Just with one link point. It gives like 100 points. I care about this number right here. And I've already explored just enough to talk about it, I believe. Just enough to figure out what the theme is going to be of the video. It gets even worse when you have June and the other one gets July. It gets even worse when both of you get the same song at the same age. She's pretty much like 13, even though in the movie she says 12. I'm not sure exactly when everything is filmed and how long it takes to film things, but I have a hunch that it's 13, guys. So that's annoying. It's really annoying that there's such a weird crossover. June, July as well. Like, what the fuck? I hope you believe me, guys. I'm not sure why the name change. She didn't seem to be in a relationship yet. I don't understand. But anyways, here you go, July. Okay. But technically this is where all the interesting stuff ends, and I don't really need the connection anymore. I'm just like, well, I'm interested. That's cool. Yay, get up and grab a bowl of cereal, am I right? Yay! We got that. Alright. Although it's cartoonish bowl of cereal, I'm not impressed. It is like super generic, right? But maybe that's the whole point. It's like, what am I supposed to give you? Well, generic things. But with those generic things, and in fact, 100 things, they have to do something interesting in high school. And it seems fairly unique or fairly fascinating, right? I watched 8 episodes, and I had to stop there with the superpower thing. So the theme of this video very likely gonna revolve about talking about Ring of Bullshit and how you have to cross over that thing. It is technically Valley. Yeah. It is the Valley. I have talked about it with Laura, or referencing Laura. And Disney and Nickelodeon shows make me feel like I'm a little bit more social than usual. Alright? In this case, we have Nickelodeon girl, apparently. That's nice. A little bit of variety exists. She kind of was airing at the same time as Kira with Thunderman. So it's also very nice to stop at the superpowers. In fact, it gets worse. Kira also has the same personality, and it sucks, man. What? Now we have a triangle? Okay, let's not think about it that way. Alright, but I think she does. Which is kind of weird, bro. You can see them together as well. They're kind of forced into that, you know, to make one picture every year or something, you know, in some kind of event. Again, for me as an outsider, I'm just discovering Disney, bro. I have not watched this shit at all. And there's a lot of shows that nobody watched. You know, like, you can say you watched one show, but you didn't watch the other one, right? Like, you can't watch the whole package. In fact, it's better to wait. It's better to wait until these girls grow up and you don't fucking look like a predator watching the damn shows. Regardless of your interest. Yeah. You might actually like feet in Nickelodeon. And the controversy blew over. Alright? People have given awareness and it's like, well, now it's old news. Alright? It doesn't snowball into anything. It doesn't matter what happened behind the scenes. all you care about is your self-pleasure, and people outside of US have a very slim chance of even meeting these people. But there's still a chance. I'll take it, man. I want to know as much as possible about every single girl, because that's my attraction at the moment of being stuck in a room and stuff. So, let's build up upon this thing, this structure. What is beyond the ring of bullshit? Why did the ring of bullshit exist in the first place? It traps weak people. And we call them NPCs now. Weak people just simply group together, they pretend to do things that are beneficial to society, but they also want to, be happy and stuff. So they have to kind of conform to some ideas that are good to show that they're normal, but in reality, they're sometimes even fill themselves up with bullshit as well. They enter the bullshit territory and they don't quite do a good job at it because you're not supposed to. Even something like building a family or being rich can be bullshit because what the fuck is the point, right? Like, you always have to have a point, a reason. And to build a reason, you have to build a bridge towards reasoning itself. You have to analyze what the bullshit is, and you have to build a bridge and acquire a skill. And a lot of NPCs are too scared to do that. They might be doing scary things to scare you, but that's also bullshit. Some of them just fall for it, so to speak. Now, it might seem complicated. And it's like, how the fuck do I know this stuff? Well, I figured it out using Dora the Explorer. Or, I like her former name, like Isabela Moner? Okay, maybe I don't. So, most notable episode is the superpower one. But in general, it is very interesting theme to try and find things to do in high school. Kind of like try to survive high school. Try to use your friends that you have as a way to explore high school. Everyone seems to have superpowers. Yeah, because they have to survive in a way. There's a group of girls thing, there's that. And this observation happened in the previous episode as well with the style of like how people behave. So it's a very careful observation of school, and I've already mentioned that school is a social experience first and foremost. We are forced to work together, to see each other. And out of school, we're forced into freedom to figure out how to survive without our parents or anyone else helping us. We just need money. But that's still simple. We just need money. We just need to find a way to earn money. However, now it's a respectable position, and not everyone does it the right way. Not everyone graduates school in a way, because once you graduate school, you learn how to be social. You learn how to communicate with people and not throw anyone under the bus, bro. Like, if you don't like them, you just throw them off out of your life. You just block them. I mean, what are you scared of? It's just so weird. So because I have collected so many rejections, I had to create this situation where I'm trashing them back. I'm calling them NPCs. I'm calling them people who haven't actually self-developed anything at all and is not even capable of helping and socializing outside of their little circle, outside of the people that they know of, that they're friends with and they're safe with, and they're settling down that way. But to settle down anywhere is a mistake, and you're probably just going to settle down in a comfort zone where you don't actually even have any control over your life. My comfort zone, you can call it mom's basement. Nah, bro. You can call it Mr. B's, though. That's pretty cool. That's closer. My comfort zone is the whole internet. Uh, Technically, I'm kicked out so hard, and maybe that's a normal thing to do, to get yourself kicked out of the NPC world, become unlikable, become kind of stinky, in a sense. But I've learned to improve in so many ways. I mean, people would need my help. People would need to, like, learn that therapy is bullshit too. But they only just need friends who support them and understand what the problem is to some extent. But now we all bow down to science. This is where all are. We're still stuck at school, basically. Because science is bullshit, alright? Learning to praise authorities in whatever they say is the actual statistic. Well, sure. But don't bundle up everything and give authority to science. It's just, well, one scientific paper is going to be good, another scientific paper is going to be bad and greedy. And you don't know which one is which because you didn't do fucking science in the first place yourself, of any kind. And until you do that, you will not know what is true or false. You're going to be fed lies and truths at the same time and manipulated accordingly, whether you liked lies more or truth more. Right? So, a lot of people are stuck in the science bubble. But that comes with more baggage, it seems like. Like, people are willing to reject you. People are willing to just not talk to you for a change. And that is very detrimental for your survival, so you have all the rights to be upset about it, you know. When they can't let you get back in there until you dress up as a fucking clown. Like, surely, the only time I'll be able to get back is once I'm a clown, once I provide something of value, and they just pretend that it's like, well, it's just a business person, you know. Then they will buy my services, interact with me, but only while I'm a clown. Well, only while I'm playing some kind of role. You know, in their NPC world, I have to play a role. So that's something to think about. Like, I still haven't met a person who appreciates honesty in the first place. That is just bizarre to me. Because if you become honest, people are a little bit scared to show their, like, demons and stuff. But that's all they can do. This is why you would escape NPC world, because it's filled with nasty shit. It's actually way stinkier in there than in here. Which is why people are desperate to look nice, act nice, and, you know, shove all the nasty people into little cubes. Now we call prisons and asylums for mentally ill, or whatever you want, bro. So you learn to stay out of their way, to some extent. You learn to escape the world of blues. This is where you start anyways. And we have evolved. Like, science is a new thing. Being an NPC is a new term. We're constantly evolving. We have technology now that carries us over. You know, the way to build a bridge and the way to adopt skills, you need technology 100% to go over the bullshit. Now, what do we have here in general, right? A girl exploring high school. This has nothing to do with the ring of bullshit, right? Well, the reason why I stopped at the episode where we talk about superpowers, first of all, I was immediately intrigued of, like, change your look and see what happens. So you already felt like the things that she's doing and deciding to do and then just shows this app.
It is now.
It's like, well, that's the thing that we're gonna do. Normally Nickelodeon shows last for like 4 seasons. So this would be 100 Things to Do, but it was cancelled. I'm not sure why. You can ask Wikipedia of that thing. So apparently it's not 100 Things to Do, unfortunately. High school can end abruptly. In fact, that's probably what happened to Jewel as well. It sort of ended like the nice phase. Now she had to deal with popularity. And it wasn't pleasurable at all when children around you are pretty jealous that you have transcended somewhere. That you're naturally going to be carried by over this bullshit thing. And most people can't actually get around this. You sometimes need friends, you sometimes need to be very, very smart. You have to invest a lot of time into this. And after I bounced one time and discovered that you get really powerful going across, I kept doing it in different locations. I wanted to establish myself, basically. Well, NPCs are waiting for me to bounce back and give something to them, which I am doing. These videos are for you guys to learn stuff. But I'm scoping my perimeter, basically. And finding myself 4 types of bullshit, basically. So dissecting the ring of bullshit into 4 pieces. Which is cool. And this year I have been basically discovering this concept in general. Of like, things people believe, but are not actually that big of a deal. And sometimes it's actually negative to your life. So let me explain what this is. You know, what is this border that keeps NPCs and smart people separated? The greatest bullshit cake of all time. I have printed this out in the middle of summer. What is this? June 13. That's a weird one. That's a weird date, I'm not gonna lie. June, July, okay. I started with medication. I started with revolting against just the regular idea that medication is somehow like useful to you. This is where my starting point was. And medication is just like a commercial success. You don't know how it works. Most of the time it's bad for you. And you know that much. But you don't know what's good for you in terms of medication. So just take it. Like a good little NPC, it seems like. And the same topic shows up over and over again of like, are vaccines good? Well, there's a big question. Vaccines are actually way better than medication because vaccine you have to take once in a fucking lifetime almost. A specific type of vaccine. You just suck it up on that one. You die, bro. That's okay. Because your body's gonna deal with it. But medication is something that kills people to a ridiculous extent, I would say. Especially when it's like not compensated. What a funny thing that is. When you're forced to eat something you don't want, that doesn't help you, and you have to pay for it. And you don't know when to eat it because you never get hungry of medication either, right? So your body does not like desire that sort of thing. And if you chew on it, it tastes like shit. So none of these things indicate that it's a good product to use. We would rather give advice. That's the greatest medication of all time. Advise, teach people how to behave. And then this is when you jump over a big pile of bullshit. People want to sell you something rather than teach you something because teaching you something is going to have various effects. Why not just give you a placebo pill that you can technically sell and make it do anything as well? The best thing to do with a placebo pill is to make you sleepy, to make you lose energy, to make you feel numb in various ways. And there's not much more science to it, I don't think. It's just like, let's block your pathways in the brain. Your brain is imbalanced. You're too awake. You're too active. You're too ADHD, take medication. Pretty scary stuff. Again, I will slowly reveal this whole thing. But when I started thinking about superpowers, you gain superpowers by gaining skills, right? It's the skills that are highlighted that you can, freeze people of like, I have authority, or I'm very pretty, and even though you're attracted to me, you still have to obey whatever I desire, basically, to just remain nice to me. You don't want girls to fucking that support me like chatter around you and reject you instantly. And then there's a third superpower, should be somewhere. I don't know, bro. I literally don't know that. There had to be 3. Oh, the fart thing. It doesn't show here very well, but there's some people running from a classroom. I'm not sure where exactly. Well, someone farted and they evacuate the entire classroom, basically. Which is, it's technically a superpower if you know how to control it. If you know how to unleash the most powerful farts of all time. And then disrupt the classroom. I technically was doing that. I was being fucking smelly all over the place, and people, offer me to take showers, but like, in a way, like, I don't want to just take showers just to not be smelly, right? It's a lot of work to take showers, especially when you're in a difficult position in life. It's just like, it's so weird. It took me a long time to make showers feel natural. I take a simple step of when to take a shower. You have to feel that you need it, right? So there has to be something scratchy. I have to be touching myself way too often. My skin basically scratching something. That's indication one that I'm like uncomfortable, right? And then usually there's the gap that you want to cross, or like you want to wash your hair at the same time. There's like 3 things you want to do. 3 reasons to take a shower, and when you collect all of them, you just go for it. One reason of like shower every single day is actually pretty stupid and scientifically, denied. Of like, well, it's actually not gonna make you cleaner, unfortunately, but people really want to do it. Cool, it's just like you're an NPC. You're just following the desire to be extremely clean, which is not even helpful in the end. Yeah, you just don't want to stand out. You're not going to stand. Well, you might actually stand out by being too clean. Actually, you might. You might stand out because, well, you will never stand out. You will stand out from my perspective to you, because you're wasting your time in the end of doing things without purpose. I'm just saying. So I collect 3 things. I take a shower, whatever. Everyone felt overly clean to me from everything that I watched. That stands out. Like, I literally see them like, how is everyone so fucking squeaky clean? It's just like, it's so weird. And the NPCs want to project that they have success in life, that everything is fine, and they're always happy. You can see the miserable disguise to disguise any flaws in their lives. So once you cross this border, once you learn how to do things, what kind of reasoning to put on yourself, to make yourself happier and better as a person. Once you learn those skills, that is a superpower. And not only a superpower, it's a superpower you can control. Right? This is why these people, it's almost like a drawback to like be overly rich and stinky and have duties and all that stuff. It's not exactly superpower by default. All right, it's just something out of control. You cannot control whether you're born rich or poor, or pretty, sometimes. But what you can control is how you carry yourself, and how you improve yourself, and how much time you invest into doing so in the first place. Yeah, talking about showers, a lot of I've heard this one thing of like this ultimate question of like how often do you change your underwear? And I'm like, what? I don't change underwear every single day. But that's what these people do. They want to make you feel uncomfortable about things they have nothing to do with even. You know, the only time things are going to be out of control if they're smelly, you know, that's it. It's not like we're having sex all the time, bro. Like, relax. You know, nobody even wants to talk to me, unfortunately. So, you might have privileges if you're super squeaky clean and super attractive. You might get a privilege. That doesn't mean that your life is going to be better in the end. In fact, you're going to be dragged into bullshit of making babies, which is like, I don't recommend. And clearly, right now, everyone is suffering who is financially unstable with a baby at the same time. Like, I have no idea how these people survive anymore. I can barely survive on my own. I have my own problems to deal with, you know. And I want to like stabilize boredom because I'm being left alone. So like anything bad can happen to me. I just have to like live my life until I make enough social connections and a passive income. Until then, I'm just honing my skills. I have crossed the board of bullshit, but I still need to reach the level of like bounciness, basically, where when I come back to the NPC world, all of a sudden they see me as a different kind of person. They see it as something precious at very least. You know, obviously something positive, but something precious that I am now harvesting like very powerful material. I have ridiculous self-esteem. You know, they can see me that way. And it's hard to see the difference between NPC and a real person, right? Like, well, of course, it's all about honesty for me. It's all about virtue. It's you hold virtues that make you stand out, that make you do things, that make you act as a superhero. When you see injustice, you know what to do. You know exactly what to do because you have dealt with that situation before. If there's some kind of problem going on, even a thief taking a purse of a woman, you're going to be the superhero that's going to chase the thief because you know you can beat him in the chase or whatever. You can outsmart them somehow. Because perhaps you've done it or just very excited to try it out, to see how far you're going to get. You know, you've done some part of it at least. So all of a sudden you can become very precious when you don't just conform and you don't just wait of like, who's gonna solve this problem? Like there's a clear problem, who's gonna solve it? And in a way, superpower is about problem solving. In the end, they face the fire and they have to react quickly and alarm everyone and detect the fire in the first place. And they get to feel like superheroes in the end, right? Dress up and stuff and have so much self-esteem. And everyone else just, again, blurs out of the picture. Which is You know, the moment you make people so jealous of like, oh shit, like you also gonna rub it in my face after getting this Nickelodeon stardom thing. I'm like, well, we gotta kick you out. We gotta shut down the season. I'm sure there were enough to like quitters to make that happen. I'm not sure what happened, but I can always speculate. It's just much more fun to speculate. So let's, in fact, discuss those superpowers, right? She also, well, I call her Dora, Isabella, whatever. Or CJ. I think her name is CJ, which is like, bro, this is not a good name. This is, uh welcome to GTA San Andreas. Here we go again. Here we go again to school, am I right? Holy fucking shit. Here's another thing that I have to do. Change Your Look was also a pretty interesting episode. Is the clothes that make a man. You get a muscle bodysuit and all that shit. Well, it doesn't make you. You just get a role to play in society. And this is what I'm talking about, like the clown suits, the coming back to society being precious. This is where you get that leverage. First of all, by how you present yourself. I present myself successfully as a homeless person. I don't have any clothes to actually wear and impress people with. But behavior also still matters because, well, I would not be able to blend in the first place and act the role properly. But at the same time, I'm not sure exactly how the world is going to make me shine. Oh, wait. I don't give a fuck about the real world. I care about this world. The one you're listening to right now. It's the world of the internet. My comfort zone in space is the internet. I care about, what other people care about. I care about the mainstream stuff, and I'm not exactly sure what makes up the audience of YouTube, but I very much know where the influencers have to go when they cross the bridge and start learning skills. They have to explore this place and see how far they can go, and then play a role, potentially for money, and somehow beg for money. Most of them default into doing that, but I don't think it's a powerful move. Whatever Mr. Beast figured out how to do is the best money-making machine of all time, I would imagine. And he figured out that money can basically buy you any experience, and that experience is going to be valuable to buy more money. And all of a sudden, he found the infinite loophole in the system, which is, I think it's pretty natural. The only question is, when is Mr. Beast going to hit the peak where he's going to be depressed? Because you can feel the vibe of him hitting depression anytime soon, the moment he cannot, like, one-up himself by throwing more money into the fire. The moment his ideas feel pretty much the same, and the stats show the same thing, and we get bored of Mr. Beast at the same time, there's a lot of gravity that will pull him down eventually, right? And something will have to change. The entire platform revolves around the biggest person to feed us ideas in the first place. This is why I feel like Disney and Nickelodeon is a very good social experience, is a pretty good thing to just put in the middle, Technically, we just do this. Nick and Disney? What the fuck? Disney. This knee voice. Wow. I guess, or I don't know. That is powerful, I'm not gonna lie. It's a social experience that you should probably have. I mean, for me, it's incredibly attractive. and it suckered me in very quickly. Again, not only Ari uh, made me feel like celebrities matter and that I have to explore their world, and it opened me up to a whole new dimension of things. I basically hopped into the bubble of uh, their audience, basically, where the audience feels safe, basically, in the comfort of their homes. And I also stuck in the comfort of my home. So, okay, I relate to that. And then I ventured on into different directions. But Ari was also the one that threw Nickelodeon at me and threw Victorious, one of the best shows ever created. Right? It's hard to find anything else like it. Shake It Up was actually pretty good. I would put it in the second place. I don't know what I'm putting in third because I haven't watched many of these things. But Shake It Up, anything that makes me actually watch the show and not just salivate over it, it's pretty good. So Shake It Up did that to me, but we'll see. Maybe there's something more. Like Salmon Cat was not exactly my cup of tea. Maybe it would be third place, but you know, it was kind of a little bit of a rivalry after all. So, anyways, rivalry gone bad. People have to have something in common. MatPat complained about that, and it turned into a big deal. Basically, for me, to know that MatPat is now starting to rant. He ranted about shorts as well, of how shorts are bad for the platform. And I totally agree. He's getting closer to the truth, my friends. Isn't that crazy? Things that I've learned pretty quickly, and you just test it. Are shorts bad for the platform? First of all, like, you get cringe bonuses for seeing it all over the place, being forced down your throat. So I disabled that with the plugin, which I would recommend. Like, I click on shorts and I get absolutely nothing. Yep. Nice plugin. But you literally don't see any short related things even in your subscription box because that is fucking annoying. Alright. Why do I bring this up? Well, it's nice to see that we're going forward and we're concerned about things and everything is changing constantly and I have to prepare myself for what's next to come potentially. I don't know. It feels like the world revolves around me a little bit more each day when I grab more skills, when I have more superpowers, when even disabling shorts makes me faster, makes me navigate YouTube landscape a little bit faster than everyone else. Paying YouTube Premium also makes me faster. I don't have to deal with ads and ad blocker blocking, you know, and by surrounding with enough people, I feel like I am, in fact, surrounded, that I have plenty of things to do and I don't have time to complain that, oh, I can't watch every single influencer on the platform. Yeah, I can't. And I can't complain that I'm bored, that I have nothing to do and nothing to explore. I've basically reached my peak and I try to keep it mainstream, keep it something that people can understand and relate to. While people only can relate to Mr. Beast at the moment, it seems like, and he's a front runner of every single thumbnail of YouTube Rewind right now. It would be actually quite interesting to make a YouTube Rewind search. YouTube Rewind 2023. The same two ones. This one's still picking up steam, but it seems like people are burned out of typing in YouTube Rewind. Vox, I actually respect Vox right now. It's a very grown-up channel, it feels like. And people actually watch this quite a bit. I'm impressed by the numbers. There's meme rewinds, and usually all of these are meme rewinds. All of these are just little clips of like, hey guys, remember this meme? But you can also see Mr. Beast. When it's like more like generic rewind, Mr. Beast is in front every single time. And it's like, I'm a little bit tired of that shit. Okay, maybe he doesn't show up too often, but come on. Come on, bro. It's almost like it's an indication of that it's a rewind at this point. You need a rewind button. Apparently, this one is missing rewind button. I mean, it's literally Mr. Beast's rewind, so this one is not an example. But I'm getting tired of this shit. Mr. Beast for me is not the greatest influencer. I keep track of everything. It turns into a game. And a very elaborate game, too. So I'm building all sorts of weird skills that most people can't relate to. Most people look at it and it's like, oh, I guess you do that thing. And I had to interact with NPCs. I had to be their friend until they, they just kept using drugs or sex as an excuse to not interact with me. Of like, well, everyone's having some kind of pleasure in some kind of way, and you're not going to take that away from me. That's the vibe. Like, they get addicted to something that doesn't necessarily give them more skill or anything. Doesn't make them relatable, necessarily. It just makes them collapse and socialize more and more and beg for that resource, for that pleasure. So they get stuck in the land of pleasure and infinite possibilities. But if you never develop yourself, like, what's the point? Now, if I develop myself too much, I'm still pretty intimidating as a person. Perhaps. I don't know. Like, you sort of have to play by the rules and not put too much effort, right? Almost like let other people win and pretend they are winning so you can attract them. And when they get too close, you play the game of beating the shit out of them, because you win, and then you lose everything. This is how casinos can pull people in. If you lose immediately, if you lose a conversation, if you feel uncomfortable, you will just not go to the casinos anymore. They have to try and hook you up. Now I have to, learn social manipulation tactics? I don't know, bro. It's a scary world out there. For me, for everyone, technically. Because these people are not even in control of their lives, it feels like. It's just like whatever happens. You can find a lot of my bullshit episodes by just typing in Gurunext bullshit. You get a lot of these. In fact, you're going to be served the first round of bullshit. The first ones that I've made, even without thumbnails. It's almost like making you go down the road of exploration. Technically, this one is where I started with. I picked the theme and just wanted to explore it fully. And it seems to have worked. And I believe now that I have a second channel, I feel like I figure out how the algorithm works as well of YouTube. How I can squeeze more and more views. But we'll see. There's a lot to explore that way as well. One moment, I have to check someone's hypocrisy levels. I personally like defeating NPCs the first time I see them, because I know I will never see them ever again. I know that I have to put a barrier, technically a ring of bullshit, to not let them go across that easily. Because people that I don't know at all, I don't even want to manipulate them. I don't have patience for that anyways. If I haven't seen someone in 10 years, it's too late now. You have no respect to spend. You have no backstory. And you're not building anything. If your first thing is disrespect, I can't actually drag you in and explore your world in any way. In this case, people are actually picking up my rendering thing, and it's going pretty well. I think it's getting 150 views right now. But this is the shit that you have to go through, basically. This is how nasty NPCs are. Some of them, they don't want to see new things. They just want to challenge you, basically, into a duel of self-esteem. You know, they feel they're superior, that they know something about something. And it pisses me off. Then you feel like isolated in that sense. You know, and also on the internet is a very scary place because anyone can say anything as well, right? But you do your best to respond, and I just move on. I don't receive many messages, so like, whatever. I'll give you the boner, my friends. Nothing changed up to this point. I haven't made a friend or anything. NPCs don't just like cross over. When they do, they realize they're in the wrong territory and they run away really fast. I can kick them out really fast. Either they're too young or already have been in dirty waters themselves. They're not clean, they're not virtuous in any way. They just appear to be, and appear to be surviving to some extent in the harsh environment of the Across. So I've seen many things, my friends, but I've never seen anyone keep up with me before. And you also do, in fact, need to respond to people. You need to socialize with them because you don't know how wrong they actually are. You can't just allow them to manifest their ideas. Because usually those ideas are, in fact, destructive and pathetic. And even completely false, right? You think I haven't explored ray tracing, the way it's actually implemented? Bro, the whole rendering system is literally layered on top, and ray tracing they try to like squeeze on top of everything else. I say, screw that, ray tracing can do everything, alright? All of these layers can be done with that one thing. And that's it. It spits out perfect results. Alright? Whatever you like. Yeah, 2024 is probably gonna be the year when I do ray tracing again. After a big break. Last time I was doing it, 2020. 2020. That's it, bro. Long time ago. Or not? 2021 was the dead year, and after that I didn't touch ray tracing whatsoever. It's too icky. It's for my brain. It was too much pressure. Game development, putting into picture. Okay. It's a little bit of a detour, but whatever. Let's finish this off. This video can end. Now will Isabela be an actual powerful and influential person? We don't know. In fact, she's still too young to play this kind of role. She's kind of in the middle of like Olivia Rodrigo and what's the other one? Jenna Ortega. Like she's in that group of people, and they're not very powerful yet, but they have potential. People praising them already. It's like, well, she's in that age group in a way, right? 18 to 23, I guess. Sabrina just like crossed over into 24, and the vibes are completely different, I would say. Like she's exploding in power level, in influence. But at the same time, you know, maybe showing flaws all of a sudden. Who knows? Right? Maybe showing the dark side. Again, it's a scientific mindset that makes them feel that they have figured out ray tracing and all its possibilities. And it's not true, unfortunately. I don't even know how to do ray tracing to bounce it around and get into the light or whatever. It's bullshit. I don't even know how to do it. But I do know what I need and that it worked for me personally. And that I made a really good job at it. It's crazy, bro. To be dismissed so easily. But it is what it is. The only vocal NPCs are going to be the ones who say, actually, you're wrong. Usually, right? Unless they really like your content for some reason. Which is very complicated stuff. Anyway, so that's what I'm dealing with on YouTube. I've chose a specific direction. I found YouTube Rewind to be my passion of seeking influencers and evaluating them, seeing how much time I will spend with them, has basically locked on. Catched on as a sort of habit that I do. And I do this every day now. I click on these buttons every goddamn day. There's no escape. And I love it that way. It's completely inspiring, basically, every single day to do something. And if a new influencer shows up, we get to see how far they're gonna go. Isabela has broken into top 200. While Olivia and Ortega still don't have the magical powers. Okay, maybe Olivia does. And her involvement with Taylor Swift is probably also gonna give her something? No? We'll see. I haven't checked the stats. How did Olivia get so far? Oh, it's not Olivia. There's a lot of Olivias out there in the world. So actually, Isabela's ahead of everyone. And Olivia, well, still don't have the link. This is a big boost. Being associated with Powerpuffs. Holy shit, man. Okay, let's finish this off. Let's finish this ring. Most people have clicked away because, oh, I'm not talking about Isabela for long enough in her series. I still haven't watched the whole thing. Maybe there's going to be an episode that I do on the whole show. Find your superpower thing. We can see if there's cool ideas. Find a new friend. That's a pretty difficult task to do. Scavenging hunt. That's also, like, every day I wake up, I feel the same vibe of doing things. Or every time I go outside, rather. I want to do a thing because it's very boring environment. School is also very, like, boring environment. Or just going outside, just walking, just going to grocery stores. A boring thing. You want to think about something. You want to do something to entertain yourself, to be active. That will get you ahead in school and give you all sorts of benefits that way. Like, you win the social world. In school, I personally barely was involved. Maybe you can't even say that I was involved in a positive way at all. That I was contributing at all. So in a way, maybe people resentful of that. But they're not supposed to be like. You should be forgiving and give second chances to people. What about that? Like, it has been 10 years. What did I do wrong? Yeah. People did the reunion thing. It flopped because it's filled with NPCs and nobody else. But my relationship with my friends, my best friend, still is sort of intact. Like, it's a respectable thing, I guess. We still understand each other. The high school friends, the school friend in general. The one that's established still seems to be, you know, resurrected. It took me a while to resurrect it, but it's still a thing that we have. I mean, I appreciate it. It probably can turn into something bigger than that. If we go on adventures or something. Because we've been through a lot in this, like, we respect each other that way, I guess. Even though he's not my level, by any means. but I can't just shove it down his throat, the idea that somehow I'm better. No one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear the brag. It's just, you can see the difference when he doesn't have anything to talk about, any interest that, like, excite you, and you just keep on spitting out, like, this cool thing I'm doing, this cool thing I'm doing this thing that I can talk about. Again, I'm diving into mainstream culture. These are very interesting things, and I would like to share ideas about the bullshit things that we live through, but, you know, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone, because it hurts a lot of people, it seems, the truth, you know, it hurts because they have to change significantly. And that's what makes you get stuck and get frozen into this little bubble. Escaping the comfort zone gets harder and harder, no matter who you are, unfortunately, because the superpowers keep on getting reachable by anyone. Anyone can right now figure out how to do AI things and earn money, whatever you choose. You know, socialize better. Whatever you choose, you just pick up latest technology, learn how to use it, and all of a sudden, you're on top of the game, technically. Because most people choose not to learn things. It's too difficult for them to invest time. It feels bad to invest time in the first place. It feels like you're going back to school, you're going back to the grind, so to speak. But that's how big people appear. They have invested a lot of their time building their careers, and it didn't flop in the end. Because you have to be attractive now as a Disney princess. You have to be attractive now in some kind of way. Or very attractive back then. But you still have to, like, pop up. Like, even Dove Cameron. It took some time for me to discover her because I didn't like her current image. Right? It seemed, like, really fucking weird, but I was flabbergasted when I'm, like, looked into her Disney career. I'm like, oh shit, that one's pretty cool, though. That one seems pretty attractive to me. And I am almost alleviating all her sins because why is she so popular? I think I know why now. So it's a pretty fascinating stuff. But let's close the circle. Let's close the video. We're at 1 hour, and I have nothing else to talk about necessarily. Whatever the show inspires me to talk about is pretty cool. So I'll give you that. I'll give you that different perspective. And again, this feels like a social side of things because it's children discovering things, and you can play along that. And you definitely haven't had this sort of, like, crazy experience yourself. So, you know, what it's like to dress up. Like, they're doing still, like, very extreme things. They're crafting extreme experiences. This is not a regular school by any means. So you can, you know, rewrite your history a little bit and see how that feels. And maybe you remember things, or you will remember things differently that empower you, that doesn't rob you of self-esteem. So, or maybe there's something that you will try today or the next day. There's some kind of idea that you never really thought about. So that's why you have to have social experiences. In general, I still have to have them. I still have to be interconnected with everything about this circle. There's always 4 things, and we only ventured this far. You know, technically, I have a title of YouTube CEO. I say that very often. That I feel I have collected so many skills that I'm very powerful, but people don't want to acknowledge that for some reason. There's something missing in my life that would just definitely prove to everyone, without a doubt. How many people can I convince that I'm a YouTube CEO? What is the percentage? I think it's growing. I think the percentage is growing. And even if we started with 0.1%, every single year we probably can double it. All right? or increase it by 10 times. Maybe my years are pretty intense. I don't know. So, the more people I can convince of something, the more people I can stun and use it to my advantage. Even if one video goes viral, for example, all of a sudden the platform might not feel the same way anymore. If I get 1,000,000 views on a video, all of a sudden everything changes, right? So I've been able to defeat medication, but there's other 3 things that I will just rejuvenate because this cake was baked like 6 months ago. But this is one of the biggest ones, you know, the greatest bullshit cake or whatever. In fact, I can upgrade this a little bit just to make things a little bit more interesting. We can copy this. Do this. Actually, I can't upgrade because there's too many letters. Look at that. I can do that. Let's do bullshit. This is how you get skills. You just try something. It seems to work, and bam. Isn't that lovely? Well, it's not lovely because I won't be able to find it anymore. So, unfortunately, I have to topple it down where it came from. Yeah, searchability of these things is very difficult. So you sometimes own it for yourself. If you see a problem and you can solve it somehow, you're probably not gonna do a good job at it. It's probably not gonna be a clean solution, but maybe it pushes you forward. Maybe you will discover some new things. It's worth a try. I could replace the entire Discord because I use it as a notebook, and I can create a notebook for myself. Right? Even right now, recently, I'm taming this whole list or logging interface, so to speak, where if anything happens, it gets shown here, and I want to take control over it. I want to see how it works. I want to dissect it and simplify it. Because I see it as a problem. I see foreign code as a problem now. You also get to see more problems. You get to see more bullshit when you understand what you have to go through to become a better person, a moral person. So that's cool. That's very nice. You basically need knowledge. I mean, you cross over, you get knowledge. It's just that simple. And we should socialize about it. And if YouTube allows me to socialize and everyone else rejects me, well, I'll do it here. All right? This is where I'm going to find my comfort zone. That's pretty good. Again, school is an experience where you are forced into building a comfort zone of some kind, but you're going to get kicked out, and you should appreciate that. You know, it's a temporary experience. You just have to survive in this environment for 12 years most of the time. Good enough. And I do like the 12 years being like 12 seasons. You can split into 4 pieces. And then there's the college year, which you may or may not want to do. You might want to do something else. You get complete freedom almost, but you still have to align yourself with the rest of the gang because you don't want to stand out too much too early. So I did in fact do that and transition into learning how to work and learn how to earn money. And all of a sudden, apparently that's not even needed. Funny enough. Well, of course it's needed, but there's not as much pressure as I thought there's gonna be. Because I have somehow broke the matrix and I get enough money to survive and to do whatever I want. Internet is full of possibilities. It's amazing. If you earn like 10,000 and you find a basement in the first place to live in, I have no idea how long you can actually live. But obviously you need cheap food. You need to deal with inflation right now. It's disgusting. Anyways, I have broken three other things. And let me explain these very quickly so we don't break into 2 hours. But no fab. Alright? The sexual stuff. Well, suppress your sexual desires. Literally very reminiscent of medication. Just suppress yourself. Just, like, you have the urges to look up the internet, and the internet is bad. If you do it in real life, it's pretty much way better than the internet. But internet is your fantasy. You get to relive your fantasy. Also, by the way, I did forgot to mention, she has a channel. She makes some music. I don't resonate with the music. I don't think it's that powerful, but this one kind of stands out. The apocalypse music when, it's pandemic time and you have to stay at home. And she had to, like, express herself of how, like, difficult that is and how you go slowly crazy because, like, it's not enjoyable to spend time with yourself. It's very difficult to craft exciting experiences, which is very different from what goes on in the show, right? Like, she has friends, even they might be misfits, they might just be very social with each other because they care about each other and whatnot. But she has friends there. When people are known to be very social in general, sometimes for worse than for better, but they make it work for themselves. And eventually they become edgy and they become, in fact, misfits if they just carry along, because they're not supposed to be treated as like normal people. They should be feared of in a way. But regardless, it's cool. I will explore more of her music. Hopefully I find something more powerful than I will not call you Poppy moments. I'm like, yeah, you will grow up and you'll have so much power. Also, she said it at 18, so I'm not sure what's going on here. But yeah, it's probably her breakthrough moment, and people actually were waiting for this, like, music video. What is her 18-year-old music video? I mean, fucking hell. Whatever. Maybe I'll discover something. I don't like Olivia Rodrigo music either, guys. It's not some kind of exception here. I think new age musicians are just doing it as a necessity in a way. I can see it as a necessity. It's completely, like, relevant to make music because what else are you going to do on YouTube? But I feel like you can do so much more. You can do so much more. There's a lot of freedom in YouTube. Whatever length of a video you want, you can do. You don't just need to stick with impressions, but you have to be creative enough to give quality content to people. So it can't just be a simple vlog. It has to be something more special, right? But it can't just be a music video because, holy shit, it takes a while to produce as well. So you have to grab an idea that's executable at very least, if you want to stay relevant. Because this way, like, people might not like your music, and then that's just, it's gonna flop. It's gonna hurt, unfortunately. And right now, the recent adventure, I don't think it's going anywhere, is it? Well, let's see it. I might be misjudging something. Yeah, it's so too Spanish, basically. It's one of those categories of the music I dislike. Well, not too Spanish. Too weird. Too bizarre. Yeah, the first impression I got from Isabela is just Dora is like a good movie. And it's so difficult to actually find a decent movie that I would care about. Obviously, half of it is because there's a girl that exploring and is like smiling constantly, bro. Is not afraid of anything. It's like in the middle of jungle, and wow, like that's impressive alone. The personality, like, is really powerful. But it almost like that was a natural evolution from the Nickelodeon show as she explores the school in different ways. Now she's exploring the entire world. all of a sudden, like it's a wow moment for her. So yeah, I'll be rooting on this for her specifically. It's my favorite in this generation. But Olivia Rodrigo is also not that far apart. We'll see how it goes. There's a little bit of a rivalry, I feel like, brewing. Next up, so what about nofap? What else? Like suppressing sexual desires. Why is it bad? Right? But it's just like as bad as holding up sneeze, or holding a fart, or holding anything that your body wants to release, and it feels good when you release it. How the fuck you mix that up? How do you mix that one thing up? It's like saying that, well, not pooping is healthy for you. I'm like, what the shut the fuck up, man. If I have a heart on something, I have to release the tension. I have to play with it. And it's always a good feeling. There's never like a backfire out of it. All right? But you do have to find the hard on something, not just actively seek for it. See, there's a like if you're alcoholic, if you drink alcohol in general at all, that's actually pretty bad for you. If you drink energy drinks, probably pretty bad for you. Like I stay away from that shit. That shit seems extreme. But it's also very extreme to just drink water, my friends. There has to be something in the middle. That sort of tea, I don't like tea. It's still too much watery. Too dry, in a way. Water is fucking dry. Water requires flavor. So even drinking water is difficult. So you understand there's two sides to the nofap community. There are people who are trying to escape like the horrors of searching, you know, for things, or they're just people who like reality more, you know, appreciate the reality more. How can you combine those things? Well, you feel that whatever you're experiencing is a real thing. Now, people say it's fucking schizophrenia, basically, to believe that you have control over reality or everything you're experiencing is reality, but you're learning social skills by, you know, playing with your sexuality. And also, you probably remain straight as well. That would be a very big selling point of like, because people are trying to like escape going forward all the time. Like being straightforward means that you will escape society one way or the other. But curving yourself and confusing yourself and, you know, changing your sexual identity is going to keep you on the loop to stay in the society. Because the only time your pronouns matter in the first place is when you keep on saying to other people that they in fact matter. That people approach you because you look different and you just say your pronouns because like, wow. But it's a flop. It's a flop of your self-esteem. It's not achieving anything, unfortunately. We should call it no flop. You know? Yeah, you want to use that sexual energy to find something powerful, and there's always many powerful things you can find. But you have to know what to search for. And you have to know what is good or bad. Reality is about morality most of the time. You don't want to do immoral things. And you want to find things. So the search is exhausting. The search can get you on a loop. And the weirdness of this thing, because like I'm still a fucking virgin, so like people having sex is a not real concept to me. So I have to tame it a little bit differently. I have to pretend that when I have a relationship in the future of any kind, I will be able to do those things if I need to. Maybe I won't need to. You know, maybe being able to tame yourself and your sexual desires is a superpower. Straightforward superpower. Because you're not going to be manipulated by other people. You're not lustful for anything. You can take care of yourself. It's just that simple. No fap. It's bullshit. You know. But again, now you can see almost like society's crafting these things very carefully and feeding them to you, but at the same time gets you off the hook. There's no one like double checking you in any way. No one actually shames you unless you brag about yourself too much. But it's definitely worth bragging about it because NPCs are pretty shameful people. They do nothing for society necessarily. They just consume. And the older they get, the more shameful it becomes. The more silent they become. All right, they collect so much shame that they have to stay silent. They have nothing to contribute whatsoever, and they know it. That is a scary position to be in, unfortunately. And they want to shift the blame on you most of the time. They want to pretend that you're the problem. Especially when you're trying to solve desperately the problem of, like, you know, feeling uncomfortable, feeling like you're being attacked in your comfort zone. Like, I don't want to hear noises in my fucking room, but there's honking, bro. The car's starting honking, and I'm like, shit, bro. This is not supposed to be a cool trend to pick up, but it's not that distracting. There's other problems to deal with. My mom was talking to herself, like, very distracting. My mom received many phone calls. We had to, like, shut it down because it's not serving any purpose besides distracting me a bunch. So we defeated 2 concepts so far. And it's gonna take maybe 10 more minutes. Well, let's see. We have rejection and boredom. So boredom goes here. The same pattern will always repeat itself. Blue, green, yellow, purple. Whatever, boys. There's nothing new in my content, so to speak. But the way I present things can be new. Meaning that there's never ever a reason to be bored. There's never. Unless you lost your self-esteem, as always, you can be confused, you can be bored of something, but you can never be bored. Why be bored? The world is boring for you? There's so many things to do. There's so many ways to just interact with school alone. While school can become a boring concept that's trying to teach you irrelevant things, but there's so much social stuff to do. Outside of school, you're not going to get anything at all. So even if you completed school, you should still remember those days. You should still keep the vibe going, right? But not even that. Like, again, I'm telling you guys, there's a different way to talk about the same things, and you will still discovering new things. I played Skyrim a bunch of times, hours and hours, just the introduction sequence of it, where you go to your first village, you loot some things, whatever, right? You get better, you attack wolves. Playing on legendary difficulty is just extreme pressure, where anything can kill you, basically, and you have to find things that you can actually do in that world while you being pressured basically not to play Skyrim in a straightforward way. So just a little bit of a perspective change can change the direction that you go in life. And every single time you're branching out and discovering new things, and it improves your ability to go straight forward sometimes, to actually attack a troll because you know that you can defeat it. It took me a long time to, like, double check the troll's power level, because the troll can always heal itself, but maybe if I can lure the troll into a battle with someone else, I can finish them off with range attack or something, because they will be distracted. Like, you can discover certain things that will allow you to move forward through your adventure of where you're gonna get experience, how you're gonna get skills and all that stuff. But you know, you step aside from Skyrim, we're talking about bullshit. We're talking about things that people believe is true and fine. And there's all sorts of boredom, so like you should just be able to allow yourself to scroll through TikTok and burn your life that way. You should be allowed. It's a normal thing. Well, obviously, influencers are going to tell you that it's not normal and you have to do something about it, but they don't quite tell you what to do, right? See, whoever tells you the truth, whoever tries to liberate you, just be like them. You know, just copy and paste their behavior. So if an influencer tells you to that boredom is a problem and scrolling through TikTok is a problem, they're by the way, they're shooting themselves in the foot, and most of them would not dare to do that. But some of them, like they agree that they are the problem. They're too attractive, and it's like it makes them uncomfortable. Of like, why are people just wasting their time? So don't waste your time. Be a little bit more influential. Upload something. Try it out. How it feels like to upload a video, because people are given a chance on YouTube. They're given some views. You might even receive a comment. It's not a big deal. It's a very mild experience what you're going to get in a beginning of your influence career. But you might get hooked. And that's the whole point, right? Of trying new things. You can never be bored because there's so many things you haven't tried, you haven't looked at. By all means. And my channel is all about it. If you ask me for a direction that I'm actually going, is this way. It's trying to not be bored. Trying to not feel lonely. You know, trying to solve this like major problem. For everyone. So if you feel like you're going that direction and you're being confused, you need to subscribe to my channel, you need to follow me. You need to see my content that I already have. Explore it a little bit. There's stuff to do, alright? I'm already giving you assignments. And I also have multiple channels. Most notably Hearthstone channel that is blowing up a little bit. Now at 60 subscribers. I see it's a blow up. Most people think 2K subscribers is like a nice thing to say about yourself. But for me, even getting 1 subscriber is a big deal. Because I'm a very controversial person. I don't edit my videos. People don't resonate with my content just yet. So they don't have time to do so, right? And they do in fact get bored just by watching a video they don't resonate with. I understand. But the thing that makes things exciting is that when you type in a comment under my video, you will get a reply. And I will defeat you, unfortunately. I'm your final boss, basically. You cannot defeat me, but you can at least try. Try to see what happens when I pay attention to you specifically, right? Maybe it will be interesting. So that's that. Don't be bored. Illegal. Suspicious and silent. Well, we talked about that silence comes from knowing that you have nothing to contribute and you're stuck in an NPC phase. You're just stuck there. You're just being a consumer for way too long. You're getting too many things from society without actually contributing in return. Just pure work, just pure slavery is not contribution towards happiness in general, right? You have to pick up something else that is gonna help you move forward. Finally, the rewind, boys. Or, in other words, rejection. A lot of people actually reject the past. and they just keep moving forward, but sometimes it gets harder and harder to move forward. Unfortunately, the past keeps on asking where you're going at this point. Like, it's gonna catch up to us. That we can't just, like, leave Rewind behind, and we can't just treat it as trash. It's a very important concept. So even though I fully actually go this direction, I integrate a little bit of that because that's my personality. A little bit of winds and mostly green. Mostly green stuff, boys. Mostly being active and interactive. That's the most important part about life itself. You have to know what life is made out of. Life is made out of, like, moving creatures that interact with each other, right? So you interacting with nature is going to help nature adapt to your desires. You must understand. You have to tell nature what you need, and that is the most green thing you can do. All right? Now, obviously, just dumping things at nature is not going to be very helpful, and we're trying to solve that problem, but I feel that nature is more forgiving than you think. You know, that nature is not just going to burn us to death just because we emit more CO2 or whatever. Like, it's not going to bother with that. It's just like, why the fuck do you have a mountain of trash over here and over here? And why are you trashing the water with that trash? It's like, obviously these are, like, very basic problems that we're not supposed to cause to the environment. Now, rejection. The finale. The thing that also bothered me a lot, because in high school I was, in fact, rejected by my first crush. Almost utterly and entirely. But I was able to sit next to her, you know, and didn't felt much pressure, but obviously I was, like, super nervous. I approached her, I'm like, hey, have you read my thing? Because I would be sending a lot of messages to her. And it's just like, well, I normalized it for that particular moment. I felt like nothing special was happening. And that's the cool part. Like, sometimes you get rejected and the magic remains, right? Like, you don't want to waste the magic of love itself, of, like, you don't know the person, and maybe it's better off not to know the person, especially while you're still at school. They have nothing to offer you. Like, they're not special. Most people just want to look good, and that's all they really have. And if you unveil their personality, you're probably going to find that they're, again, not that interesting or special or attractive, or and this could break your heart. Potentially, you might actually look at them completely differently. So it's a very powerful move sometimes to even just reject someone. But you know, anything can happen, and you can rewind and bring back the relationship to life. So but does that mean rejection is good? By the way, it's a funny thing that happened here, right? Reject. I'll call the snowflake thing. I usually do the snowflake like this. Six-sided, much better. So, rejection, boys. So if it's so confusing of, like, well, sometimes it's necessary. It's necessary for people who don't have anything to offer. It's necessary for them to retain the magic of not being exposed. But everyone else must never reject. Rejection is not something you should be just throwing, because it's literally an ice bolt. It's a way, like, I played Hearthstone, right? And now the latest adventure is complaining about mage. It's complaining about this particular thing, particular class. I say mage is pointless. I say delete mage. Whoever wins must be deleted, basically. They look very the same, very similar, funny enough. How weird is that? And yeah, mage needs to be deleted. I compare it to priest, and I realize one of these classes don't like playing the game a lot more than the other. It's fascinating, basically. Again, I've acquired so many skills over time that I can redo these episodes. I can just look back and shrink them down potentially or make them more potent. And building these matrices is also quite a new thing, unfortunately. So looking back of how much I've done in a year is a lot. It's ridiculous amounts. But why did I talk about mage? Why did I talk about mage wanting to delete the class? It's rejecting the concept of a game. How is the class that just doesn't want to play the game? Just wants to put up secrets, mystery, as I've said with my crush. I don't have to hide her at all. When I call out Monica, I can even show her face and stuff if I want to. Again, most people want to reject you to the point where you can't even talk about them. You're not allowed. They didn't give you consent. Well, not so fast. You can probably tell which one is which, okay? Which one I would crush for. The better pixels on my screen, unfortunately. There's the extrovert and an actual person who cares about just toying with things, I would say. Alright, so, yeah, Mage just rejecting the game. It's the least fun class to play against or play with. I mean, you literally lose flavor of Hearthstone by dealing with Mage. And that's technically how I felt about Monica as well. I was rejected, and it's just like a relationship that is not really working out in any way, right? But at the same time, it felt like this metagame is all over the place. The rejection metagame, because there's so many people to choose from. Unfortunately, whoever shows you interest, you have to juggle that shit as much as possible. You have to juggle people's interest in you so you never cut them off, or you will definitely take a hit, unfortunately. You will lose the opportunity. Monica doesn't have many opportunities with me anymore, but she's still powerful as a first crush. I mean, come on, bro. Still top 50 influence. Definitely went down and potentially is going to be under fire or under attack. So, the clock is ticking, unfortunately. And it will take its toll. And definitely, it feels more and more boring to think about my past as well. I'm exploring it, and I will settle things down as well with that. Just by going forward in life, you already have something to explore. You have something to not be bored with, is by looking back. Even that is a big deal. Just keeping everything intact. And again, the way you deal with rejection is you just stop it. You just stop yourself from hurting other people. You have to slow them down by any means. Slow them down. But if you resolve a problem by blocking them entirely, if it was too much for you to just receive messages from them or whatever, I think it's your problem. You can mute people individually. You don't have to receive notifications, right? Well, you can warn them and give them strikes, if anything. It's very discouraging to interact with a person who just, randomly decides to throw you off a cliff, man. It's definitely cringe, this whole concept of rejection and how much I had to deal with. And I can't even unpack what I have been complaining in these 3 videos about. Because I've been rejected from like Discord channels. They feel like I'm sucking up too much freedom, and I feel too free to do whatever I want and to take up too much space. Well, nobody else can keep up because they're tormented by insecurities, right? So I stand out, and all of a sudden, I become the problem. I become the main person to blame for everything, basically. Even though, if, like you get kicked out and they just question themselves of like, maybe it was good actually having him around because he was like literally doing everything. So of course you can blame me for a lot of things because I was literally doing everything. I was inspiring every single conversation in that sense in most of these Discord channels. And they just didn't understood why they get jelly, unfortunately, of the attention. But the only battle plan is to kick me out. I mean, with a button. How pathetic is that? You just click a button. Is that not reminiscent of like shooting someone in the fucking face? Is that not how it works? People invented weapons because they want to abandon block people even more. So you can tell rejection is bullshit because it resembles guns as well. Like, what the fuck? Let's reject the entire country from reality. Somehow, North Korea is still a thing. Haven't been rejected. I'm kind of surprised by that. It's almost like it holds innocent people, but the country itself doesn't feel innocent at all. So weird. So that might be it, right? Funny thing, I wanna sacrifice one concept before the end of the video. I wanna make a little bit of a twist and turn on this one. Now, Dora actually has Monica's personality as well. They're all in the same group, alright? Wind, water. That's not very relevant. But what is very interesting, I feel like Monica did not reject me much at all. I feel like I got a lot out of that relationship. In fact, she rejected everyone else at the same time, meaning that we're all on the same boat, except I was here first. I was on the boat first. So I still feel the connection, the tremendous connection. It's just she doesn't know how to cross the pile of bullshit that the world is in right now. And maybe she could be watching this video right now. It is public. It is available for her and her friends. And I did entangle myself not into just her world, but into her friend's world. And we socialized just enough to feel that, we care about each other. Which is powerful. It's not rejection. Something did sparked in the past, and I can't call it just pure stop sign. While other people did in fact just give me absolutely nothing at all. There's no experience, there's nothing at all. I did collect like 4 girls, seemingly. But it doesn't quite fit. What you've seen in that photo of Monica with her friend, they're sort of like semi-rivals in that sense. But yeah, I got the 4 rejections. But I had to replace one girl with another girl, it feels like. I don't know. I'm still not sure how I will complete that circle. Because every single time I want to complete 4 elements. Without a doubt, this is my favorite thing to do. My favorite puzzle. Everything comes in 4s. So one of the puzzles that I wanted to solve is like, well, there had to be 4 rejections, and there were. It's just one girl doesn't fit very well. And 3 of those rejections came from Monica's group of friends, because I was desperate, right? So almost her rejection made me look for an alternative entry point, try different perspective, as I often do, to see what happens, to see what I can get from it. Yeah, boys, rivals, guys. The smiling rivals. There's no way around it. I call her Angel and she smiles too much. Meaning that they are in fact rivals, unfortunately. But they're cool friends and they're cool survival friends in school, I would say. Absolutely. One cannot live without the other. Until, school is over. And now they are kind of forced into God knows what. Like, even just the stories themselves, like, are fascinating, and it makes me worried, right? Like, if people can't talk to each other, like, we have so much to talk about, after all. It just takes time to, digest the content and open up. But there's definitely stuff to talk about. So, to not have a concrete school reunion or class reunion, whatever, is a little bit cringe, I would say. Or maybe they just rejected me. You will never know. Because the idea is now floating around, obviously. It was 10 years almost. Well, it's funny how people need an excuse to make a change in their lives. Like, they need such a strong excuse to just exist properly, to gain self-esteem of some kinds. So much excuse. When money is on the line, I mean, that's a pretty big excuse, but still most people reject that shit quite a bit. Even money is not incentivizing most people to do anything. Very interesting stuff. But most importantly, rejection is bullshit because, again, you have to juggle every single ball and opportunity you get in life. Anything you get is absolutely amazing. If you especially receive it from other people, obviously scams are is something very generic that you get very often, but it goes from that level of reception climbing upwards, right? Maybe above scams, there's glitches of the system, right? I'm collecting glitches of things that, a celebrity does that I care about. It's almost like a semi-sparkly experience. Maybe it's glitches. For me, at least. And then you keep climbing and, like, finding more and more valuable things that you receive, and you have to appreciate everything. Beyond glitches, there's a actual connection, right? Maybe we can call it this way. Like, actual connection between two people, and, like, the relationship is there. If I send a notification, they will receive it. That's a very powerful thing. Or they giving you some experience, just enough to hold on. Not only I created the 4 girls from school type of thing, I created more than 4. Obviously, the classmates 4 of the classmates, 4 of the other type of girls that are very, very attractive and interactive, Those created a band. I think that's where it almost ends. There's, I think, 4 fours. Funny enough. 16. Sweet 16. Interesting. Anyways. So you have to collect every single one of these experiences because these are still rare. Even the scams are pretty rare. You have to ask yourself how often you receive a scam directly into your mailbox. I mean, unless you're like a very influential person, you don't have to delete even the first layer of interactions that you receive, of things you receive. Like, you receive things into your subscription box, and this is where I can find some glitches. Like, someone can upload something related to my topic that I'm talking about right now, right? Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but the possibility is there. And I think that's where we can close the episode. I wanted it to be a little bit more sweeter because we talked about Monica all of a sudden. Is there anything I can do now? Do I need a different ending? Well, we started off with Dora the Explorer, basically. A pretty cool starting point, I'm not gonna lie. Spin a full circle around NPCs. Tell them that they're absolute trash and they have to get a little bit more confidence to, be interactive on the internet. That's the least scary place, my friends. That's a place where I don't get hurt, Everywhere else, even fucking stepping outside my door is now fucking deadly as hell, bro. You can't imagine. That I don't agree with anyone around here, and I don't want to be surrounded by people who hate me on all that shit. Like, obviously, it's a very big problem. Like, what the fuck did I do wrong? I can't take the blame for any of this shit. And only when you take the blame for something, you will drown in that fucking society and start feeding into their stupidity, basically. It's disgusting, man. How much manipulation goes on in just the first level of everything. But they can't manipulate you. You just see an old person not acting as a mature person. And those are the creepiest ones you can find in society. People have to be mature. People have to not impress you, but not act like children. It's just that simple. Not act like clowns all the time. Clown around without a costume, basically. A mature person will be able to present itself properly. But yeah, to discover a ring of bullshit, a barrier between these people that you sort of have to interact with, you can't escape, and you have to appear normal and fearless, and that way you can, avoid problems most of the time. Appear fearless, appear that if anything happened, it's an accident, it's a victimless crime, so to speak. I even talk about it here, right? There are victimless crimes, there's drug abuse, but there's a reason why things are illegal, often enough. With drugs, you are disassociating with society. You don't want to live in an alternative universe and feel good about it, but that's what drugs make you do. And there's a lot of other addictions that, should be probably illegal, and they are illegal in some countries. So you got to be aware of somewhat questionable things that you could be doing in life, that there's no time for that shit. There's no time for questionable things that will make you feel guilty. Because it's the guilt that will make you drown in that thing. So finding those 100 things that you can do and not feel guilty about it, 100 things to try, that was a good place to start. And that's a series that I will probably enjoy a little bit more than I thought, even though Isabela is a little bit too young to attract me, being 12 years old. It's not my thing, my friends. This Nickelodeon show doesn't show enough feet, unfortunately, for me, so alright. That's a much better ending, unfortunately. Yeah, see you guys next time. The ending is not the ending. I don't have to have a good one sometimes. Sometimes the ending is click my next video, little bitch.